Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. Today it's a chilly day, and so I thought what better thing to do than to create something to cozy up my spirits, but also to help me celebrate Thanksgiving. Now, I've been on the road for almost 8 years, and in that time there's a lot to be thankful for. So I thought we could discuss some of the things that I've kind of done along this time and why I'm thankful for certain things, and then also what some of the challenges have been. But along the way, I'm also going to be creating something that's a core memory for me. Now, doing that in a sticks and bricks versus doing that on the road is a little bit of a different vibe, but thanks to the InstantPot today, we should be able to create our own version of this. And so I'm going to put a little twist on it. This is just this small 3-quart InstantPot. This is enough to make plenty of food for me, plus a few. I'm going to try to make a smaller version of this recipe. We'll see how it works out. I am not optimistic about my portion control because I've only ever made large pots of this particular dish. Now, if you have never cooked with an InstantPot before, they're pretty handy. One of the things that I really like about the InstantPot is it allows me to do a lot of different things, and I don't have to use a lot of pans to do it. So all I have to do is plug this guy in, and then I'll be able to put all the ingredients into a single pot and then turn it on, and in about 20 minutes we should have something pretty delicious. We'll find out though how this translates. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and get this all set up, and then we can talk about some of the more challenging things that I have found along the way. Now, challenges come in all shapes and sizes, and I've definitely encountered my own fair share of those. One of the scariest moments that I've experienced in the entire time of me traveling was when I was still in my car. I was tent camping and I wanted to go someplace in Colorado, only to determine that the road wasn't necessarily the greatest. But it was too late. I was almost there. I tried to get there and I slid backwards down a mountain in the most terrifying way possible. This was very early into my travels, and at that point, best believe there was some moments where I contemplated, okay, is this smart? But I am thankful that along the way, I've always been taught that, you know, a small thing can happen and how you respond to that thing can change your trajectory. So instead of panicking, I simply looked for cell service, walked down the mountain a little bit, called a tow truck, and even though it was still a very traumatic moment, it was something that could be salvaged. I've learned along the way that challenges can shape you. They can make you into a better version of yourself. And I'm very thankful that along the way, I've had people who have constantly reinforced this for me, that, you know, sometimes you're going to be super stressed, and that's okay. Take a step back, take a deep breath, and you'll be okay. Everything just has to kind of run its course and get to the place that it needs to be so that you're not in that like, oh no, position. Again, I've had several weird things. That one was the scariest though. And because of that, it made me have to really consider, hey, sometimes if I want to go someplace, not all vehicles are created equally. And so I just need to kind of be more aware of that. And I'm glad that I didn't just give up, because if I would have given up, I wouldn't have had all those years that I've had thereafter, including the years that have now put me into the van. So I'm really thankful. I'm really, really thankful that I didn't overreact, and that I instead had the wherewithal and also the positive reinforcement and support to say, okay, I can still do this. I just need to kind of reframe my mind just a little bit. Now today I'm going to start off our recipe with some spicy chicken broth. Normally I just use regular chicken broth, but the spicy chicken broth was new, so I thought we'd check it out. I love it a little bit of spice. So this is gluten-free. It has a touch of heat according to this. It's non-GMO, and I'm just going to use the entire container of broth for this. So opening it and just pouring it on in. This will be a good foundation for my dumplings, and it has a really nice scent profile. Okay, there we go. Now next up, I have already pre-selected some items. I have some carrots that are matchstick carrots. I have an onion that's been chopped up, and I have some chicken that I've already pre-cooked, shredded, and put spices in. Now, if you are making this and you do not have the ability to do all of those things, you can just go ahead and put the matchstick carrots and the onions in here without doing the most. You just can. You can do it fresh. You can also buy rotisserie chicken that's already pre-shredded and use it as opposed to having to cook the chicken. But I just wanted to, for convenience, make it a little bit easier before I left my base camp, do this, and then put it into bags that I could freeze. And so that way I could cut down on a few of the extra steps. But you can cook your chicken in here and everything. You just have to add the extra step of doing it ahead of time. So inside all of these little bags, I have my ingredients. So I'm just gonna add them to the broth, and then they'll all cook together nicely. Any good chicken and dumpling should just make you feel like you're at home and you're cozy and you're feeling nice. Which brings me to my story about why I like chicken and dumplings so much. It's another thing I'm thankful for. You know, we all have those memories of things that bring us joy. And I remember whenever I was a kiddo, I used to, if I got sick and I couldn't go to school, I would stay with my grandma Winnell. And my grandma Winnell, she would always make me chicken and dumplings. Either that or mayonnaise sandwiches, which that's another story for another day. But in doing so, chicken and dumplings were always my favorite. And she taught me that I could make them myself and she'd get me involved even if I didn't feel good. And so what she would do is do all of the hard stuff, all of the getting of the flavors together and the shredding of the chicken and everything like that. And then she would let me do this next step, which is taking biscuits, just regular everyday biscuits, opening them up, and she would let me tear them up and throw them in. And it always made me feel better. And so I'm super thankful for having a really great family that's always really considered me in different aspects of my life. Not only with a comfort item like this with my grandma, but also with my parents. They've always been super supportive. And I know that whenever I started out on the road, it was probably pretty weird for them. They didn't know what I had in mind. They didn't know if it was going to be safe. And even though I'm an adult, all parents worry. And so I know that it was pretty hard for them to be like, okay, you're going to do what? But at the same time, they were always very supportive. And because of that, I've been able to continue doing something that I really love. And I've always felt like I had people in my corner. And so that has been wonderful. Not only that, but I've also gotten to travel with them a little bit along the way. That was unexpected. I thought I was going to have to do the hit it method. But nope, we got biscuits. Now, as I move into this next step, this is my favorite step, like I said. I just take the biscuits and I peel off little pieces and I roll them into little balls like this. And I just dump them into the broth. And this is gonna take me a minute. So I can now tell you guys what else I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for you guys. Now, some of you guys have been here since the very beginning, and wow, thank you. But along the way, we've met new friends and we've been able to celebrate joys and see amazing things and have some incredible brain wrinkles. And as a result of that, I feel like whenever we communicate down in the comments section that I get to know you guys more, but every so often I luck into getting to meet one of you kind of out and about on an adventure, and I get to talk to you about what you're up to, and it just inspires me just as much as some of you guys say that I inspire you. My goal was never to be someone who was like recognized on the internet. My goal was just to provide videos to kind of encourage some of my friends back in Dallas to get out and live life more fully, like I always say. I saw a lot of people that were doing interesting things, but not always necessarily were they challenging themselves to get outside of their bubble and try new things. And so I wanted to show people this amazing world that I had discovered. I've mentioned before that on my channel, I started out because I had taken a job where I was able to travel, and every 2 weeks we'd be in a different city and we would get to explore these places in such a unique, cool way. And it really made my gears kind of grind around in my head and think, life is bigger than what I've been letting it be. So I took off on the road on a 2-week road trip with my good friend Pam, and the rest is history. Along the way, I was inspired. I found purpose, I found joy, I found brain wrinkles, and I knew somehow I wanted to do this, but I didn't know how. And at that point I decided, okay, I'm going to start a YouTube channel, and even though I had no knowledge as to what I was doing, I was like, let's see where we can make this go and see how many people along the way that I know personally might be like, oh, that's cool, we could go do that instead. That was the whole goal. Life is too short to not do things that you are encouraged or feel like you might have conviction to do. So as I was traveling, I started realizing more and more that as people started following along on the adventures, that there was a little bit more to this. See, where I find joy in doing these mundane things in the everyday, I also see that it encourages others to find a way to do the things that might scare them just a little bit. I've gotten used to my routine on the road. I know how to check for a campsite. I've gotten used to figuring out where I want to go, how I want to move, but it still occurs to me that there's a lot of people who don't feel confident in doing this. And so by doing this channel, it's allowed me to kind of give them a window into a world that they may or may not relate to. Some people watch because of the adventures. Some people watch because I'm in a van now. And either way, I think that we're all here for the same thing. We're here because we want to aspire for more. Now, whether that more is traveling the way that I travel, or if that more is just learning about history in different places, or seeing cool places that we might not be able to go, or taking a trail that might seem impossible for us based on our own abilities, I think the channel serves a lot of purposes. It never was meant to do any of those things, though. It was just meant to say, hey, my Dallas friends, look, there's a pretty view. But it's turned into something so much bigger, and that's because of you guys. See, because you guys have been such a part of the channel, you've helped me to realize that even though I might not do things the way that everybody wants to do them, I do things in a way that people can understand them and maybe take from that and then go off onto their own and do kind of their own thing. And that also is pretty epic. I don't know how many people that I've had send me really cool sites and share their favorites. I've also had people who have asked me for advice when it comes to like their van or like if a trail will work for them. I've had people who have sent me literally so many encouraging words. And on the days when I've had a bad day, you guys have been there and just been so encouraging and sometimes not even known that it's been beneficial to me. I'm hoping that through my voice that I'm the same to you guys though. I hope that through seeing somebody else do it, that you feel like you can do it. I hope that for the women out there that might have been scared or thought, I just don't know if it's okay for me, that you can see that I'm out here living my life, and so are many of my friends who are women, and that we're living our lives unapologetically, but also in a way that is really encouraging to others, because we get out here and even though sometimes the road can be weird, we stand in what we do and we're not afraid. Like, sure, there's going to be moments where you're like, oh my gosh, I heard a sound. But at the same time, we don't let that rule our lives. And because of that, we trust our gut and we move with purpose. And it's improved all of our qualities of life. But there's more to this story. So buckle up. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me. But first, I need to stir all this around to make sure that all of the little biscuits are dunked down below. So we turn to the trusty little container for all of my silverware and cookware and things. Now I'm sure at a later point in our meal this is going to be so small in comparison to what I need, but that's okay. For now I'm going to use it and just hope for the best whenever everything's cooked. So I'm just going to kind of move everything around and kind of separate the chicken. It's still a little frozen, so it's not going to completely separate. But I'm also going to be adding a little bit more liquid to this because I need to add some heavy cream. There we go. There's that carrot horde right there. Oh yeah, this will be good. This will be good. So I'm going to add about half of the heavy whipping cream to this, like so. Okay. And then I'll stir again. And then after that, I'll just put the cap on this and we should be able to cook it. But whenever I started out on my travels, one of the things that I've kind of talked about before here on the channel was that even though I enjoyed my life, I was looking for something bigger. And I think that what I was looking for was something I couldn't find in any other way other than by traveling, to be honest. One of the things that I was looking for wasn't community or anything like that, because at the time I was traveling by myself. But more so, I was looking for inspiration. And inspiration comes in many different forms. Each person finds inspiration in things that they enjoy. And for me, I wanted to go and see the Grand Canyon. I've mentioned this before. The Grand Canyon was inspiring to me because I hadn't seen it. But once I saw it, it made me really realize how many things I honestly had not seen. And also, it made me realize how small I am in this great big world. When you see something that magnificent, it makes you take a step back from everything that you have been stressed about, because you realize that in the grand scale of the earth around us, we are about this big. But it takes you having that moment and putting yourself in one of those positions to be able to fully see it. See, I thought the problems that I had in regular life land were so big, so stressful. But then I realized that the rocks around me were weathered over time. Nothing happened in a day. Time takes its toll on things. It works slowly, and as it does, it chips away and creates something that is ever changing. And we as people are also like that. We should take those moments to realize that the things that are these exterior forces that are just making us go, they're just one thing that's shaping the bigger picture of our lives. So we need to figure out how we can take that and be productive with it. And so I was inspired after that to do more. And ever since, I have been going with the anticipation and hope of being able to find everything I possibly can. But along the way also, I had a series of kind of unfortunate events that happened that were really tragic. And in doing so, I realized just how short life can be. Okay, I'm gonna go in for a stew. Actually, I think we're gonna go in for a soup. A soup would be a more fitting thing on this one. Running this today on the Blue Eddy AC70. It's pulling about 708 watts. I'm starting off at 97%. Now, I don't talk a lot about my personal life on the channel, and that is because my channel isn't really about my personal life. It's about the adventures, it's about the travel. However, in my personal life, before I started all of this, I had a series of really sad moments where several people that I knew passed away far too young. And especially at my age, that is alarming to see, to say the least. But not only that, I saw a lot of my friends who started to go through very serious hardships. And in doing so, they weren't coping so well. And so I realized the fleetingness of the life that we have. And that, again, as I say many times on my channel, I find joys because I had the opportunity to wake up. I don't just say that because it's something fun to say. I say that because it is reality. Unfortunately, all too many of us have experienced something really tragic that has taken someone away from us far too soon. And in doing so, it has really ripped apart pieces of us and made us have to come to some understandings of how fragile life really is. And so every day that I get up, the reason why I don't want to just sit around at camp is because if I have that opportunity, I need to be doing something with that opportunity. Now, I understand there's a difference between movement and rest. And don't worry, I rest. I do, I promise. But at the same time, I'm fortunate because I get to wake up. I get to see things. I get to go out and I get to experience life. And if there is anything that life has taught me, it is that I am thankful every single day for that opportunity. And I try to reflect that here on my channel through my energy and through my abundance of joy and through my gratitude toward others as I meet them, and also toward the educational opportunities that I get through going to these places and getting new brain wrinkles. Because again, at the end of the day, I look at it as an opportunity to better myself, to better my community, to help others to see things that they never thought they could see. And because of that, I go back to the thing that we were talking about earlier, you guys. Over the years, I have been overwhelmed by how many people have utilized my videos to get to places that they didn't think that they could through a digital field trip. Being able to go places that they might not be able to because they aren't physically able to go there. And seeing that makes every day that I wake up and I hit the ground running and I go, so worth it. I know my channel is not going to be for everyone because a lot of people really do genuinely enjoy just the camping aspect of travel. And that's okay. There's so many channels online that do that. But I hope that this better explains why I don't just sit. I'm a go and blow girly. I've said it a whole bunch of times, but in all reality, there's a huge reason behind that. And I hope that through that, you guys can see that I am grateful every single day for that. And every single comment that you guys leave and share your stories, your encouragement, your words, or your reasons that you've gone to places or not been able to go places, it does mean something to me. And I do see each and every one, even if I can't comment back sometimes because I'm out of service or life has just gotten chaotic. And so again, thank you. Last but not least, I want to say thank you to my friends. Yep, sometimes we don't do that enough. So I'm going to take this time to explain to you why I have the most awesome friends. And you probably have the most awesome friends too, and you might just not realize it. Have you ever had a harebrained idea that sounded absolutely ridiculous? And then your friends were like, high five, you can do this, or sure, that sounds great. Even if they're over there secretly going, huh, okay. I've had a lot of those. A lot of things that I come up with are a little off to the average human because I go, 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 like I mentioned. But at the same time, I have found the most encouraging group that I never expected to find. Going back to the beginning of this, whenever I was traveling solo, I never sought out community. It wasn't something that I was interested in. It wasn't something that I felt like I needed to validate my experience or anything like that. I had friends back in Dallas. I had friends that are in different areas, and I was okay with that. But a lot of things changed along the way, and ironically, it happened after I got the van. I always tell people that most of my group I met right out the gate, right out the gate. I went to an event called Gutted, and it was in Colorado, and I met so many of the people that I still hang out with today. And then shortly thereafter, I met the rest of the people that I now hang out with today. Again, community wasn't something I sought out. It wasn't something I looked for. But because of that, the world has a weird way of giving you the right people at the right time. And so for that, I am extremely thankful. If I spout off something that sounds crazy, they are there like, you know what? If anybody can do it, you can. And I love that. But also having that balance back and forth of being able to just have a friend who understands what you're doing or experiencing or going through, especially within my friends who also do YouTube. It's nice to have somebody who gets what you do on a deeper level. And so we can sit there and we can talk about like dilemmas or issues. And that's something that is very, very niche and very unique. But additionally, I have my friends who, if I decide that I just need a day where I can just hang out, they're there. And they're excellent. If I want to get together and I want to go try something new and I don't want to be by myself, I can call them up and say, hey, are you willing to do this? And they will drive from another state, meet me in the middle, and we will have an epic time. And those are the kind of friends that I wish for everyone. If you're looking for community, I encourage you guys to get out and go to some of the gatherings. The gatherings are a great place where you can meet a variety of different people. And that doesn't necessarily ensure you will find your people, but at the same time, you're a lot more likely to find your people in a place that has lots of people. It's really nice. And again, I am so thankful. I have such a great group of people that I have fortunately found in my life. They all come from such unique backgrounds, and they all have come to this place through their own interesting story. And because of that, it's not like we are copy paste. Each person is the same. We have similarities in that we travel the way that we do, or that we enjoy the outdoors, but each of us is unique. And that's what makes a good friend group. Not having people who are all just going to high five co-sign you every single time, but also having people who add to the conversation because of their own life experiences. And yes, my friends do high five co-sign me all the time, but also they add value to my life through their lives. And so because of that, I'm so thankful. It's pretty nice to be able to have people that you feel comfortable with, that you can travel with, that you can hang out with, that you can do absolutely nothing or everything with. And so for that, I feel so blessed. Okay, we're getting closer and it's at 79%. So we have lost almost 20% off of the battery already. That's not too bad though. It's still nice to be able to have something that is a comfort dish. And if I was with my friends, I could serve my friends this too. Since they're not here right now and I'm here by myself, this is going to be a whole lot of chicken and dumplings, even with me using the smaller portion. So there's going to be that. One of the things that I have learned over time is that if you are willing to try things out and be flexible, a lot of the things from your regular life can fit into your journey on the road. Things like this kind of appliance that only pulls 700 watts, while it is more bulky, can definitely work. Things like my air fryer, they can totally work. And so you don't have to be in discomfort just because you travel. I think a lot of people are afraid of walking away from comfort and thinking that they're just going to have to like scavenge. And that's not the case. In fact, even though I have a, for the most part, no build van build, technically this is screwed in, so it would be considered build even if it's not. I think that one of the biggest things that I have learned is that I can have anything that I have in my house in my van. It just takes a little bit of creativity sometimes. And with that, I can do some pretty awesome things, like this comfort meal. Who would think you could have actual comfort food on the road in such an easy way? Yeah. So you don't have to do without, and I'm also thankful for that. This is gonna be so good. Of course, all the biscuits try to rise to the top, so you kind of have to just push them down. But look at this. It's gonna be so, so delicious. So the InstatPot took me down to 63%, but 63% well worth it. So now the question is, what does it taste like? Using that spicy broth, it's gonna be a little bit different, but oh my goodness, this is delightful. Oh yeah, this is so good. I didn't put any exterior seasoning or anything like that because I seasoned the chicken before I shredded it. So if you do decide to purchase some already done rotisserie chicken, you wouldn't have to add anything else to it with this broth. The broth really makes it good. I'm gonna eat this. I'm going to go into a little bit of a Thanksgiving food coma. I'm gonna be so happy that I did. Remember guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. I'm thankful for you guys. And I'm thankful for all the other people that I mentioned in this video. And I'm thankful for this delightful meal. Till next time, bye.